Hello, you beautiful people. Okay, so I previously read a post on the gram in regards to how we can heal our masculine energies without an exemplary masculine model to refer to. In that post, I read a tip in regards to how we can ask our hearts what it needs from the masculine energy and adjust our own energies accordingly to provide that. And so this prompted some really great questions from some curious women in regards to the subject. So here's the question that will make the premise for this whole video. It was asked, so if I'm a woman and I want safety from the masculine, how can I provide that safety for my own self when I'm looking for that safety from a man? And that's a great question because the majority of women in the world are wanting safety, and the feminine consciousness as a whole is looking for and needing safety. So how can they provide that for themselves? Okay, so this is my disclaimer, right? And that my point of view is coming from a more esoteric or spiritual point of view. So that's with the understanding that reality is a reflection of what's taking place within us. That reality is projected from inside to out. Okay, so if you struggle to grasp that concept, then this video might not be very useful for you right now. But it is important to keep coming back to that point because everything comes back to this point, that reality is projected. And when you truly embody this understanding, this will actually help you master your own life significantly. It's absolutely necessary to understand this. So to come back to the original question of how to create safety within us. And so people have this perception that when it comes to working with the masculine energy, that what we want to do is get our masculine energy ready to fight and protect us and stand up so that we feel safe and secure. However, really what most of the work entails is getting our masculine energy to stand down. Now, what does this mean? So, what happens in war, generally, for example, is that when there are intruders and enemies are at the gate, the men get the women and the children and lock them up so that they're safe to protect them. And then they go out to fight and go into fight, flight, or freeze. And well, this also happens in our energetic systems. So whenever there's a trauma or perceived threat or fear, the masculine energy locks up the women and children, i.e. our feminine energy. Our feminine energy gets locked up and closed off. And then what happens, the masculine energy goes and tries to do whatever it does to survive the threat, but often doesn't realize the threat has passed and the feminine energy remains closed off. So what happens whenever we try to access our feminine energy, whether it's our creative energies or our more subtle abilities or even just aspects of our own personality? Well, they're locked up and closed off, and we find that this is a big problem for many of us. See, it's within this state that we feel stuck and in need of protection and safety, and we feel extra isolated and lost because we've cut off from our own hearts, and in doing so we're cut off from our own higher intelligence. So to get back to the original question, what you may find is that you don't need to try and create or find some protection and safety, but you may actually find that you need to drain the fear from your masculine energy and help your masculine energy realize that it's no longer under a circumstance of threat or danger. And sadly, what we will find a lot of the time for many people is that the thing that they are seeking safety from the most is in fact their own masculine energies. How is this? Well, the masculine energy, when it becomes so defensive, it becomes extremely volatile and aggressive in the act of closing down the heart, the emotions, and anything it perceives as a vulnerability. And for many women in the world, the most aggressive thing in their life can often be their mind towards their own hearts. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes, they will find partners who will mimic this energetic dynamic taking place within them, and they will manifest the partners who are abusive and aggressive towards women in the same way that they are abusive and aggressive towards their own vulnerabilities. But I do have to mention here, like before I give you tips or exercises to do. Like, this is applicable most likely if you're watching this video right now and are safe. And so, when I say to, realize that there is no longer a threat outside of you, that is only applicable to you if there is no longer a threat outside of you. So it's not applicable to women, for example, in Iran or Afghanistan, where there is a very tangible threat taking place, or people who are in a situation of ongoing trauma. So it's obviously not applicable to them. And for many of us who are doing this healing work, it's not only healing the trauma that we have been through in our lives, but it's actually healing an energetic dynamic which has been taking place on this planet for centuries now. Oppression of the masculine against the feminine, oppression and abuse, the pushing down and the suppression of the feminine energy. And although the manifestations may appear differently in us all, those energetic dynamics are taking place in the background of all of us, on a subtle level, and to some people a more overt and gross level. But it's still there, even to the molecular level of our beings. So how can we start to heal these energetic dynamics within us? So I'm just going to give you two important points to really nail down. And you can approach them via journaling, just using self-awareness methods, and meditation, or whatever feels best to you. But number one, an important first step is to recognize in what ways does your mind suppress or attack your emotions. Now, this is the masculine attacking the feminine, and it can be in ways of shaming or judging or belittling your emotions, or even trying to numb or suffocate them. And number two, where do you belittle or ignore or shut out your own internal guidance, such as your intuition? And this is an attack or belittling of the feminine energy. So it can be from the subtle or to the overt. It can be even simple things like, where do you throw out your own intuition and try to stick only to logic? Where do you belittle your own feelings and desires and try to stick with mainstream society opinions when you feel like this is right, but society says that's wrong, this is right, and you go with them and not with your own truth? Because this is shutting out your own heart, and it's shutting out your own higher intelligence. And in most cases, you do this because of fear. It's a mechanism of survival. Now, you need to acknowledge this mentally and emotionally, and it's going to take a lot of self-awareness and a lot of focus on your inner talk, realizing and recognizing all of the energy which is flowing through you, all of the emotions and the way they want to move, and your responses, most importantly of all, your responses to the emotions. Really focus in on all of the reactions. And with time and practice, you will start to recognize patterns, and you'll start to realize where your masculine energy stops and prevents free and total expression of your true self and your feelings, your emotions, and your heart, and who you truly are at the core. So then once you've found your area of focus and you've seen where you're restrictive, you've seen your reactions and where you suppress the heart, you then want to open up the dialogue of self-inquiry between the heart and the mind. So you just want to get yourself in a relaxed state, and you want to start asking, for example, why am I being restrictive here? In what way is it serving me for being restrictive here? In what way am I protecting myself by being restrictive here? And the most important thing is to open up and allow and receive and gain awareness to all of the answers which come up within your consciousness. And don't fight it, don't suppress it, don't resist towards it, in worrying what the answers are and how that may make you look, or how you will perceive yourself after. Just allow all of it to come. And in the recognition of the answers and the responses which take place within you, you then have the choice to say, is this really helping me right now? Is this really protecting me right now? Am I benefiting and enhancing my life by restricting myself in this way anymore? And if not, and in most cases, you will find that it's actually detrimental, you can then ask yourself, well, can I let go? Can I let go of the restriction? Can I allow myself to flow and be free now? Can I allow myself to express myself in this way now? And even, can I allow myself now to be and feel free to express myself now? And as you ask these questions and you inquire and you feel deeply into these answers, you may feel fear come up. You will feel the fear and all of those emotions which are making you lock up and close up to begin with. The fear is generally what is motivating the masculine energy to close up. So as you feel that fear, recognize again that you are safe right now. You are here, you're in your body, you're in your home. Hopefully you're doing this in a safe space. Probably should have recommended that in the beginning, but recognize that you are safe and that you can just welcome the fear to pass by and go. Just breathe into the fear. Breathe and relax and allow your protective mechanisms to relax. And breathe deeply. Meditate. Do what you need to do in order to relax and allow your whole body and mind to relax. And can you allow your heart to tell your mind this statement? I need you to protect me by allowing me to express myself freely. Can you protect me by giving me freedom to be me? Can you protect me by no longer restricting me? Because protection does not lie in restriction. And the best protection is in freedom. There is no longer anything to fear. And so obviously I can't go into too many specifics in regards to what to say and do, because everyone's story is vastly different. The reasons of why your masculine energy may be overprotective is vastly different from person to person due to their life story and potential traumas taking place. Doing this work will enable the mind, the masculine, to relax and hopefully put down that sword, which will allow or lay down the foundations for a healthy head-heart connection, which then lays the foundations for your healing to come. And it's important to note that this is about healing the energetic behavior of the mind, the masculine, and then healing the perspectives of the feminine. And you may realize that this is not a quick fix, a one and done kind of exercise. It's about incorporating this into your self-awareness, into your daily practice, into your mindset, your emotional behaviors, the way of being, the way you are in your day-to-day being. And once you do incorporate this in your day-to-day being, you will find that after a period of time that you'll go through a huge transformation, and this will help you in your return to balance. If you take a good look at the world, or if you watch the news on a daily basis, sure, you can find reasons to be afraid. You can find reasons to feel that you are under threat and that the world is not safe to live in. You can find reasons for your masculine energy to stay in fights or flight or freeze. Or you can choose to recognize that it is possible for you to live a life of safety, well-being, happiness, and abundance. And these are perspectives that you can be working on and you can train into your nervous system. And in this recognition that you can live a life of joy and bliss and abundance, you can recognize that you can manifest this life for you. And you can have your masculine, your mind, believe and want to manifest this for your feminine, to bring your feminine and your soul, your heart, into your body more. And what you will find with this work, the more you return to balance, the more you can manifest and create, and the balance will be reflected outside of you as it is within you. The easier it is for you to manifest these things, the easier it is for you to experience them, and everything compounds and compounds until you get to a place where your inner world is transformed and your outer world is transformed. The healing of your energies, and especially the masculine energies, is such a vast subject. I can't touch on all of that right now with this brief answer, but hopefully this answer can provide a little bit of insight and a little bit of direction in where to go or where to start for many. But since it is so fast and we all have a little bit of trouble here and there, let's open up the dialogue. Write in the comment section of where you struggle with healing the masculine energies. Feel free to get in touch. Follow me on socials. Let's connect. And you can also find me at alexmalcolm.life.